Before you take another bite of rice, let me ask you a simple question. Is rice really the villain behind your blood sugar spikes? Or is the problem how we cook it, cool it, and what we put on the plate beside it? The shocking truth is that the same bowl of rice can behave like candy or like gentle fiber depending on 5 details no one tells you: grain type, cooking time, portion, what you eat first, and what you do after it cools. In the next hour, I'll show you exactly how to turn rice from a roller coaster into a steady bridge of energy, with practical techniques you can test at home, no expensive ingredients, just smarter habits. And yes, you heard that curiosity right. Cooling and reheating rice can lower the spike, but only if you do it the right way. Stay with me, take a deep breath, and let's turn your favorite staple into something that loves your metabolism back. For many of us in our 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, rice is comfort, culture, and convenience in one warm bowl. It's on the table because it's affordable, familiar, and pairs with everything from beans to fish to vegetables. But if you monitor your glucose, or if you wake up foggy after a late rice-heavy dinner, you already know the worry. Rice is mostly starch, and starch becomes glucose. The key words here are mostly and becomes, because how fast it becomes glucose depends on choices you control. We'll talk about glycemic index, the speed of the rise, and glycemic load, which is speed plus portion. A small bowl of a slow rice can be easier on your system than a big bowl of a fast one. And the hero of this story is the balanced plate. When rice shares the stage with vegetables and protein, the blood sugar story changes in your favor. A gentle safety word before we dive in. This video is about habits, not about replacing your medical plan. If you use insulin or medications like sulfonylureas that can cause hypoglycemia, if you take anticoagulants such as warfarin, or if you have kidney or liver conditions, reflux, or food intolerances, please bring your clinician into the conversation as you experiment. Changing how you cook and combine foods can shift your glucose needs. We want steadier numbers without surprises. And if any new symptom worries you, dizziness, nighttime sweats, unusual weakness, pause the experiment and talk to your healthcare team. Your safety comes first. Let's begin with what actually pushes rice to raise glucose more than it needs to. First is the starch itself and how refined it is. White rice has had its bran and germ removed. It's softer and cooks quickly, which often means it digests quickly. Brown rice keeps the bran, so it comes with more fiber and tends to digest slower. Parboiled rice is a bit of a hidden gem. It's partially pre-cooked in its husk, which pushes some nutrients into the grain and changes the structure of the starch, making it gentler on glucose for many people. Grain shape matters too. Long-grain varieties like basmati generally cook up drier and fluffier with more intact structure that tends to slow digestion compared to short, sticky grains. Jasmine is long-grain but can be quite soft and aromatic, often eaten more tender, which can speed things up if you overcook it. If you remember only one thing from this paragraph, drier, longer, and less processed usually means a calmer glucose curve. Second is cooking time. Think of rice like pasta. When it's cooked al dente, the grains keep their form, and your body has to work a little harder to break them down. The softer and more waterlogged rice becomes, the faster it turns into glucose. It's a slippery slope from fluffy to mushy, and that extra minute can matter. Third is portion. A heaping spoon that turns into half a plate is not the same as a measured quarter of your plate. Because rice is easy to eat quickly, portions can creep up without you noticing. Fourth is rhythm, how you chew and the order you eat your meal. If you begin with a small salad dressed in olive oil and vinegar or lemon, and a few bites of protein, you can blunt the spike when the rice arrives. Finally, the fifth detail is what you do after the rice cools. Cook, cool, reheat, done safely, can turn a portion of the starch into something your body treats more like fiber, which lowers the glucose rush for many people. We'll dig into that technique together. Now let's clear up some myths that make the rounds in kitchens and family chats. People ask, if I wash the rice many times, am I washing away what makes me gain weight? Washing rice removes surface starch and dust so your cooked grains are less sticky. It's good for texture, but it doesn't change the core starch inside the grain enough to turn fast rice into slow rice. Rinsing can also help reduce a small portion of contaminants, but it's not a magic trick for glucose. Another myth, if I add oil to the pot, does it automatically lower blood sugar? Fat slows gastric emptying a little, and mixing fat with starch can make the meal feel steadier for some people, but oil in the pot won't neutralize the starch. It can help with texture and with satiety when used modestly, and a drizzle of olive oil on your salad before the rice can be part of a smart plan, but it's not a pass to eat unlimited rice. What about vinegar? Does it save any plate? Acidity can modestly reduce the spike when used as part of a meal, especially when you dress your salad before the starch, but it's not for everyone. If you have reflux or a sensitive stomach, vinegar might irritate you. And the simplest path is to use lemon or lime on your vegetables instead, which many people tolerate well. One more important topic, arsenic. Rice can carry arsenic from the soil and water where it grows. You can lower arsenic content by cooking in excess water and draining, similar to pasta, or by using a rinse and cook method with a higher water ratio. Choosing sources known for lower arsenic and rotating grains also helps. This isn't to scare you, it's to empower you with kitchen practices that respect both glucose and long-term health. The hidden key many people miss is something called resistant starch, specifically a form known as RS3. Here's the simple version. When you cook rice, the starch swells. When you cool it completely in the refrigerator, some of that starch reorganizes into a shape your small intestine can't digest easily. Your gut bacteria handle it later, more like a fiber. That means fewer of those starch molecules hit your bloodstream quickly. The technique is straightforward, and it's also where kitchen safety matters. Cook your rice through, but not into mush. Then spread it in a shallow dish so it cools quickly. Get it into the refrigerator within an hour, and let it become cold all the way through. A good window is at least 8 to 12 hours. Overnight is easy. When you're ready to eat, reheat it until it's steaming hot. Don't leave rice sitting warm at room temperature, and don't reheat it into a paste. Gentle steam or a sprinkle of water and a covered pan can bring it back to fluffy life without breaking down that resistant starch. If you err on the side of mush, you undo the structure you just created. And always respect food safety. Cooked rice shouldn't live in the lukewarm zone. Cool it fast, store it cold, reheat it thoroughly, and enjoy it within a few days. So which rice should you reach for when your goal is a lower spike? Picture a practical ranking you can memorize after one listen. If you enjoy white rice, long-grain basmati is often the calmest choice when cooked to a fluffy, separate grain texture. Parboiled rice, sometimes labeled converted rice, also tends to treat your glucose more gently than typical white rice. It's a solid everyday option for many. Brown basmati sits in a similar friendly zone if your digestion likes the bran. Common brown rice is fine, especially when you cook, cool, and reheat it. Jasmine can be trickier because people often overcook it. Keep it a little firmer if you love it. Black and red rices bring beautiful color and extra plant compounds. They can be hearty and satisfying, but watch portions because there's still starch. Which one is best depends on your body and your plate, but if you want a starting place, choose basmati or parboiled for daily meals, rotate in brown or red for variety, and save sticky, very soft preparations for special occasions. Timing matters too. Lunch often handles rice better than a late dinner. Your muscles are more active, and you have hours of daylight to use that fuel. If you're very sensitive to evening spikes or your sleep suffers after starchy dinners, keep rice portions modest at night and lean harder on vegetables and protein then. And remember that texture influences satiety. Drier, separate grains slow down your eating and help you feel satisfied sooner. Wet, gluey rice invites big bites and fast forks. Let's cook what I call smart rice. Start by rinsing your grains until the water runs clearer. It's for texture, not magic. Use a water-to-rice ratio that preserves structure, often a little less water than you think, so you avoid over-gelatinizing the starch. If your pot tends to trap steam, lower the heat earlier and let the rice finish gently. When it's just tender with a slight bite, turn off the heat, cover, and let it rest for a few minutes. Fluff with a fork and serve the portion you need. Then, if you're planning ahead, spread the rest in a shallow container and slide it into the fridge to build that resistant starch overnight. For reheating, add a spoonful of water, cover, and use steam on the stove or in the microwave until it's hot and fluffy, not broken. Keep flavor joyful without sugar. Bay leaf while it cooks, garlic and onions sautéed lightly in olive oil, turmeric for a golden hue, or even a cinnamon stick for a warm aroma if you're making a savory sweet side without adding actual sweetness. Herbs, scallions, parsley, cilantro, these are free gifts to your taste buds that don't raise your glucose. What you put around the rice is just as important as what you do to the rice. A simple plate pattern makes this easy. Half your plate non-starchy vegetables, a quarter lean protein, and a quarter starch, your rice. That half plate of vegetables can be cooked greens, a colorful salad, sautéed zucchini and peppers, or a mix of roasted vegetables you batch cooked earlier in the week. The protein can be fish, chicken, eggs, tofu, lentils, or a mix that suits your preferences and medical plan. And here's a beloved duo in many homes: rice with beans, lentils, or chickpeas. When you combine rice with legumes in roughly a 1-to-1 spoonful ratio, you add fiber and plant protein that slow the meal's overall pace in your body. Many people find they're satisfied with less rice when beans share the spoon. Dress your vegetables with a thread of olive oil and a splash of lemon or vinegar before you touch the rice. That order, vegetables first, then protein, then rice, can make an observable difference in your meter. If you're very sensitive, take a little pause between the protein and the rice, even 5 or 10 minutes. It's a tiny trick with outsized benefits for some. Chrononutrition, eating with your body's clock, matters more than we give it credit for. If you love rice, aim for your larger portion at lunch when possible. Keep dinner gentler and earlier. After any rice-based meal, take a 10 to 15-minute stroll or do light chores around the house. Wipe the counter, fold laundry, water your plants. Your muscles act like sponges, pulling glucose from your blood and flattening the curve. If mobility is limited, march in place while holding the back of a chair, or pedal a small underdesk cycle while you watch your show. Movement is medicine, and the dose can be small. Because we're talking to many rice lovers, let's celebrate tradition and make it work for your goals. Rice and beans are a powerful pair, not just for amino acids but for texture and pacing. Keep the salt modest. Home-cooked broths and herbs beat factory-made bouillon cubes that can be heavy on sodium. If you're managing blood pressure or kidney health, this one swap, flavor from onions, garlic, bay leaf, parsley, cilantro, paprika instead of salt bombs, can support you in two directions at once. If you cook for family, make the same pot and adjust plates. More vegetables and beans for those who monitor glucose, more rice for the grandkids who just played soccer in the yard. Rotating grains keeps meals interesting and spreads risk. Some days try barley or pearl oats, which cook up chewy and bring soluble fiber. Quinoa is a complete protein grain-like seed that can stand in for part of the rice in your pilaf. Buckwheat, despite the name, it's gluten-free, adds a nutty flavor and a slower pace. If you want to lower the glycemic load without feeling deprived, try the half and half trick. Mix half rice with half finely chopped cauliflower, rice. The result looks and chews like a big portion while delivering a smaller starch load. You can also fold diced vegetables, carrots, celery, peppers, mushrooms, into your rice as it finishes, increasing volume, flavor, and fiber without changing the comfort factor. Texture and volume are your allies. They tell your brain you've eaten a satisfying meal at a fraction of the metabolic cost. Let's turn all this knowledge into a simple 7-day home experiment so you can see the difference on your meter, not just in theory. On days 1 and 2, cook long-grain basmati to adjust tender, separate grain texture. Build your plate with half vegetables, a quarter protein, and a quarter rice. Start your meal with the salad or vegetables dressed with olive oil and lemon. Take your protein, then eat the rice. After you finish, walk gently for 10 minutes. Note your fasting glucose the next morning and your reading 1 to 2 hours after the meal, plus how you felt, light, steady, or sleepy. On days 3 and 4, cook the same rice, cool it overnight in a shallow container, then reheat it until hot and fluffy. Keep the portion the same, keep your plate the same, and repeat the checks. On day 5, use a 1-to-1 spoon ratio of rice and beans or lentils. Notice if you feel full sooner and if your post-meal reading is smoother. On day 6, if your stomach tolerates it, dress your salad with a little vinegar before the meal. If you have reflux, use lemon instead. Keep everything else steady. On day 7, do the half and half plate. Half your usual rice portion and half cauliflower rice or diced mixed vegetables folded in. Compare your week. Which day gave you the best numbers and the best feeling? Those are your keepers. As you adjust portions and combinations, be alert to safety signals. If you use insulin or sulfonylureas and you significantly reduce your rice portion or move it earlier in the day, watch for hypoglycemia, tremor, cold sweat, confusion, or nightmares. If these occur, check your glucose and follow your clinician's guidance. If your kidneys are sensitive or your doctor has you watching sodium, avoid commercial broths and season with herbs, garlic, onion, and spices. If you have reflux or a history of ulcers, go easy on vinegar and very spicy seasonings. Lemon on the salad or gentle herbs are kinder. And please remember, you can love rice and honor your health at the same time. It's a question of strategy, not sacrifice. I want to bring this to life with two real-world portraits you may recognize. Imagine Ruth, 76, who grew up on rice and beans and still cooks it for her grandchildren. Her fasting glucose had nudged into the 140s, and late dinners left her tossing. We changed nothing about the love in her kitchen, only the technique. She switched to parboiled rice, cooked it a little firmer, cooled half the pot in a shallow container, and reheated it hot the next day. She started her plate with a bright salad dressed in olive oil and lemon, added grilled chicken or a scoop of beans, and kept rice to a quarter of the plate. She took a 10-minute sunset walk with her neighbor after clearing the dishes. Within 2 weeks, her morning numbers drifted down, and she told me she felt lighter in the eyes when she woke, an expression I'll never forget. Now picture Carlos, 62, who loved soft, sticky jasmine piled high with stew. He didn't want to lose the comfort. He learned to cook jasmine a notch firmer, to measure his portion, and to fold in a handful of diced peppers and mushrooms at the end. He discovered that if he ate his stew's vegetables first, then the meat, then the rice, he felt steady. He began doing dishes right after dinner, movement without calling it exercise. His after-meal spike shrank. Comfort stayed, chaos left. If you're thinking, this is a lot to remember, let me compress it into a friendly rhythm you can start tonight. Choose a calmer rice, basmati or parboiled. Cook it until just tender and fluffy, not mushy. Serve a quarter-plate portion beside a half plate of non-starchy vegetables and a quarter plate of protein. Eat vegetables first, then protein, then rice. Walk for 10 minutes. If you cooked extra, cool it fast and reheat it hot tomorrow. Keep vinegar in the salad if your stomach is happy with it. Use lemon if not. Season with herbs and joy, not sugar. That's it. Taste matters, so let's make smart rice delicious. For a savory bowl, sauté onion and garlic in a spoon of olive oil, add a bay leaf and a pinch of turmeric, then fold in your hot, fluffy rice with chopped parsley at the end. For a pilaf, toast the dry grains lightly before adding water, which deepens flavor and helps keep the texture separate. For a comforting side that feels sweet without sugar, simmer a cinnamon stick with the rice and add a few crushed cardamom pods. The aroma satisfies without syrup. Pair rice with a cool cucumber and tomato salad dressed with olive oil and lemon to balance the plate. And if you love a creamy texture, make a risotto-style dish but stop earlier for a firmer bite, and serve a modest portion beside a mound of sautéed greens and grilled fish. You'll be surprised how little rice you need when flavor and texture are dialed in. Let's also talk about the small, quiet habits that multiply your results. Chew slower than usual. Count to 10 in your head on the first few bites until it becomes natural. Use a smaller bowl for rice and fill it once. Your eyes will feel satisfied even when the portion is metabolic friendly. Put the serving pot out of reach after you plate up. Friction helps. Keep your water glass handy. Gentle hydration supports digestion and helps you pause between bites. Make your dinner table a phone-free zone. Distraction makes portions grow. These are not moral rules. They're tools to help your wiser self win the small evening battles you care about. If numbers motivate you, create a tiny log for 1 week. Write down how many spoonfuls of rice you served, whether you cooled and reheated it, what you ate first, whether you walked after, and your readings at 1 to 2 hours post-meal and the next morning. Circle the days that felt best: steady energy, good sleep, pleasant wake-up. Those circles are your personal science. They tell you what to repeat. There will be exceptions. Holidays, family parties, restaurant dinners, all part of a full life. On those days, use 2 or 3 anchors. Anchor 1. Eat a vegetable starter or a salad with olive oil and lemon before the main plate. Anchor 2. Share the rice or ask for a half portion, order extra vegetables or beans. Anchor 3. Move for 10 minutes after the meal, walk with a relative, offer to help clear the table, dance in the kitchen while you wash a dish. The point isn't perfection, it's direction. Before we close, I want to speak to the feeling underneath all of this. Food is not just fuel. It's memory, love, and identity. When anyone says, just cut out rice, it can feel like they're asking you to cut out a piece of yourself or your culture. I would never ask that. What I'm offering is a way to keep the comfort and protect your health, techniques that respect your traditions and your body at the same time. Rice is not the enemy. Without strategy, it behaves like sugar. With technique, it becomes steadier energy. You don't have to give up your bowl. You get to choose how you build it. If you're ready to start, pick one tactic today. Switch to basmati or parboiled. Cook it to a firmer bite. Cool half the pot and reheat it tomorrow. Serve it as a quarter of your plate beside a joyful heap of vegetables and a satisfying protein. Eat the vegetables first. Walk for 10 minutes after. Then, tomorrow morning, notice how you feel. Notice what your meter says. Let that feedback guide you. Consistency will do more for you than any single trick. Thank you for spending this time investing in your health and your rituals. If this helped you see rice in a new light, you'll love what's next. Click on the screen and check out my video about the 10 vegetables that make your glucose levels plummet and end diabetes.